bro nya chi na ehu se o client yi walande na omo hia no airport na baby fe na ye bi tan enura ne ne kura de kote kura ne say wo ba Kumasi airport na nkrofo nim se obefo aeroplane minim se ona tu nufo a ma ne fa car eti na obedu Kumasi na o say ohun se ne nkrofo je to say o san fa fm de airport if I make one asemi me some ye mu din de say fm ne ebisam na mo kire yen because na me tie me nua akwashi opon ya morning show issue sa branch and share branch ya won suma ma no ko gire ba bi mo ntim poda obeba be ka asem se do hu ni pepepe nti no kura ma me no wo de car na free and crime e bai Kumasi no hu say na chitafo wo prempe the first airport 20 no ko ho ana na wadaro mu makeka bum ye okuna ye kura wa ama e de ne ma ne bai de botai o de bai ne say
about holidays or Buffy. Asako. Into Bana just say, a money be also ye was in Ghana, also court or lawyer about also best rami. Senkrata Buha, Yebeshu money at Shim, a foot to be a major free in terms of facts. I'm so legal advise them one of some German. And that is exactly what she came to do. So far, so good. Do Accra almost of Kostra, about Kumasi or church and penny for especially woman Dinamo, a brand new Ghana. So we are in Krabi or so ye be a make sure so I answer no. We are was uncle near to Juma, so I pin it a good super young Juma. Once a process. And the hands of best in San, I have in Sans and Wako. Do a Yakojama man, sanity.
I wish for any Oba Penny Akosua Serwaa, the late icon Daddy Lumba, Nere, and a Nere Penny and an airborne commoner. Now, Oren Munyam for lawyer William Kusi, Kofa by Kofa Dominion Chambers by the client, and now Oba walk man, and I wouldn't amamra. Atoto niam nyina yamano no the late Daddy Lumba na yere ene ne ebon komo no lawyer wadawruma me yi adesua a wasua si nchen a with all due respect facha me nim se wo akan ni e de na si wo kwan se obetu obayi fo se omra maye okuna yi ni bi na mpo daachi bia no sin se ayi na chi no na fe no oba na nkrofo chihira no ade ama otim se obetu se omra na fe ya bibia wi na ana ho de nya wasam.
No, sir, you share circumstances now, the year, she couldn't have come because a day before the year there was an application before the quarter. Now, Abushua Fono is to restrain the court from moving ahead, the head of family from moving ahead to perform the funeral. And she had that information, and we knew that circumstances. The facts before the court, the baby a court may grant it. Because at the time, no, never to apply application a call police headquarters say omo person who they say buy a lumba free moon, which was a criminal matter. And the police actually almost can complain no more young juma. And I was surprised. I was not surprised when initially it came to court not grant the application. No? Because we have covered here. I couldn't be able to see about the investigations. So I was more surprised when we had the judge in San Fre, the lawyers involved, some of them and years of no proof.
Now, lawyer, I want to own him. Now, me pay Mrebia, Emrenim ni biti se mumubi. Ebeka court was some na yen sem fatam yebisa. Because me jina fidie so ye adwuma matie fo etie me bedi madanse se ye di nkomo no ani hunu se abusua no se omo empene so nti se ni na court nye e na court bua ye se de abusua ne kan modu ni se nti won mo mutumi eti ye de yesese ye ne ma afira fidie so akono ye beti ne se ye se court se e ma okra ye frɛ ma e koba se e wo se court se si enkonya foforo na emum enya court dem was said o kan asem foforo no e ba to minim kwa mfasa mudi mu nsem na ehfa na mudi asem a edimu na ina mo tra enim.
It was a strange occurrence. Adia yenye court chini. So court a ma order bisa. So a Fontus official which is his official capacity to pronounce on the matter and has been taken away from him. So this will be the application number or an appeal. It sounded impossible for a court to recall the parties involved. Where is his jurisdiction? The other France will be for application. But to lawyer near the application. How did they send the application? It was and do file before I best file na adiachi. Near several. There been a several process. And until now, if you taken good faith near ma and near my cost so send a bear mistake go maybe to my correcting later. And that is what happened. A strange appearance. Where the judge's opinion, the procedure was wrong. So we have situation where the judge opines like they see Kumasi during the argument, no. Correct. You can go on appeal and challenge his decision. But where the assembly it's unheard of. But it happened though, and I'm happy that it has gone in the records. Say ABC or Ghana. How many days you had the law school?
Pepi ni yakasa. Oka wasem no kakra wi now the education tato. Minim ase sabi de oti ho a odi asem no ba no oye emranim ni a wasua de se de wasua de no. Na de ne sabi with all due respect the common sense be kan ho. Eti wo common sense na de kan ho na ene ne de na anye pa nka be ha.
Emranim common sense. What do I say? Yeah, very common sense in Muamra. Yes, and Kakakofa. Continue white. Our money experience will be as some common sense. Then go apply. Where you work law school, you have to tell you kind of district court, not about circuit, and not about high court. All these things is to train your mind to make legal decisions. And do the common sense could be as a more high court. I said, what?
As I'm Emra.
You may not like it, but that is the law. You have to apply it as it is. And that is why we are challenging the decision.
Nice one. Now, our client, apart from holidays or buy, or I've been for be far or kunu wone and a mombia was so maudin and money 2 year court in one.
Onya jumfu bi oba fie besla abusia mekura na menene nhia ya kasa ofun so nto obedo nsa betum nsayem adofo oba so say na Ghana for si don. It tells you that Ghanaians disagree with the decision of the court. Ghanaians disagree with the decision of the court.
Nipa na question airport one na ma dwayem kesene na.
Of course, no don't bring never come talk together.
Nipa wo omko hia maami wo airport one. Ene wo mo ba yi no wa quantify ahwe.
I'm a quantify.
There in a dozen.
The funeral, let me tell you about the relative term of the numbers. In fact, numbers no but that is even a lighter side of it. Because with himself, Akosua Serwaa's arrival in Ghana was uncertain. And they took just a few hours to organize those people we saw at the airport. And the advertising and a year to the advertising, big boss, a big crowd, and so a nipama, among free districts in a zone baby. What I say? You could see how light the attendees were. So, and compare every funny says Akosua Serwaa and I just obey a year. And I just say a Kohai Kumasi Bakobeka and some national. Yankum.
Social media they say they own. Oh no, you don't pass across Ohewachi. Cause social media na manipa, you fear you know, there's a security behind a porous.
No, correct. Now, you know, sure above one, and your road at the end of me, or sure above one, Obama home by Cassia Parenti. A mayor, a hunter, Sanya Medoy. When him say, Alibaba, me fairly happy, you know, there were threats. My wife was living threatened. Emma pressure, domestic pressure, and I mean, happy, you know. I'm saying, I did him because that pressure, if it is obvious that we had a bad case, why will anybody threaten anybody? We are standing for justice and we will get it. I'm so confident.
Lawyer, yes, na Papa Shi crack tabby and Crawford feel say a original certificate down more than a photocopy or two baby said and Crawford big can one. I said me my card is some document in Bao. And no question is certificate biaba. Na sanatia Obama Kama or Modia Kocha.
Certificate, I mean, can't some show. In court, we usually send the copied ones. And they did that. And we got her to send us a certificate. And yeah, copies near the court. You now say, judges, okay, or the 2 million or so per originals. Yeah, catch a Akosua Serwaa envelope or the mail by in a cry. Yeah, the court. So originals, Nini. And we were all surprised when the judge says, office the acquiring baby now, and your original now. And look, the level of
Judge, who say Judge not doing and say, and your original, I'm okay, baby.
I have Wapaya, on to me, who's there. Now, the document, no doubt, is you could see it's not from Ghana.
Because
your family book.
A lawyer from your caliber now, over presented Adebia. Judge Bibeka say, and will be out for free baby. And I say, I will see a bisa once a me pa. Then pan a baby a manager Ben and say, I'm going free baby and your original.
I don't body. No, I pinu me integrity kura.
Okay.
To suggest that me no go for fake documents about court. What for? What am I going to gain from it? I don't body. Because I know sincerely that the parties, the lawyers on the other side knew it was genuine. The judge herself knew it.
I do money free if I don't know.
Now, what's your judgment? No? Judge, you know, initial stages of the judgment or say evidence for say or ordinance marriage certificate from Germany, they are only second one, and until the document cannot be original. Otherwise, it wouldn't sit with her decision. And I want to make an answer. I say, hey, Benamibu.
Hey, Clay.
Exactly. If she has to decide against us, then she has to say that the certificate was fake. Otherwise, there was no window for her to decide that both of them were wives. And on a lighter side, she has always sought to explain that she met them in the middle and then promoted peace. You get the point? And she, in the attempt to promote peace, she has to say our certificate was fake. My certificate, I can tell on authority, it wasn't fake. It was the original certificate from Germany. So,
Wow. Lawyer, that's a pa. Now, what are my a kura we? Abushia, I see that lumba, mamre kwanswe we. Appear no be here of you. Now,
oh, in fact, Osha, in Krata, the court, and your front in America court. May seek for injunction because we saw a rush to bury the body when we were talking about who is a wife and who can perform. These were the two things that the court had to address as far as we are concerned. If you don't can really from a Abushia phone that you file process if you they want to do a postmortem. And that the Abushia opinion is not even the rightful person to conduct the funeral. I know Abushia they had their lawyer. Maybe the status of Akosua Serwaa as a wife is what I was prosecuting. And it is as relevant today as it was when the action was taken, because I've said this, said the disease is cancerous. Also because the cancerous. I tell you, my bet spread just say alone, it is very bad. for a court to look at the certificate of a country like Germany and say that a fake. Couldn't say in diplomatic circle, that country can also say they won't accept any certificate from Ghana because of that decision. And I will be irresponsible if I sit down for that to happen. And what I can do is to prosecute an appeal, which will probably look at it differently and say that, oh, it was an original certificate. Because German certificate, the idea, some of social media, people were posting theirs. There were no signatures of the parties on the certificate. And it will conclude that because the Akosua Serwaa about the certificate signature, no, the almost sign. Everything we said was true, except that they had to refuse it in order that they can create peace in court. But it is tried knowledge will be worried under German, won't be worried second wife. I don't know. I ABC. So to succeed in doing that, they have to say, we couldn't lead evidence to show so our Germany. But Mamma Kazam, so one the representative your Dobroni court. No. In his evidence was see Lumbaka so worry or Germany. Nadana more worry no. Ye bizarre was saying now I did break it down beyond record. One kasi were good no. I break the records are there for people missing Krofonkoji proceedings, especially almost criticizing no. They should look at the proceedings and know exactly what happened. They admitted Lumba had told them on 2 occasions that he was married in Germany. And then Bizarre said, did you look at the certificate of divorce? They didn't. And I'm saying, oh, I'm 419. That's the trend of the cross-examination. That if you knew somebody was married under German law, that's about you have to ask for a decree of divorce. Otherwise, it could happen that the marriage was subsistent. You get the point? So, to me, there was evidence overwhelming. Musapeni says that he wasn't there when they were married, he wasn't there when they were divorcing. To them, was MBA. Although Bruni wouldn't necessarily look back at him and say, our dinner a good one customer could teach him. What does it? And so there was even evidence apart from the issue of certification and all. I say Mranama Kwanso Jitum, even though there was no certification. Until we are confident. And yes, Lumbanani and Bessie, and I hear you be and through Dobro, but we want the truth. What does it?
Batomutio, or say, not and yet the legend Daddy Lumba, what wono are ye seeing one, and I have one. And no money or Dobroni soon near Sembia, name mum no cray, was nothing but the truth shall set you free. Tino Crana and Penwa.
Alibaba.
Papa.
When him says we will put it over his uncle and Kitania woman. And we are very sensitive and mindful about that. We are not irresponsible. But you see, marriage is a big institution. Every society, marriage media society, break it down. Yeah, and Yalishamra, so called and by a month to marry second one. We should respect that.
Sure.
Obaso worry to a mania what the old warrior, which is a man boss. I can vote the for a bro. Muslims say for I can vote, you can marry more than 4. Once it is under customary marriage. Why? Who is compelling them to marry under those ordinance laws so that they can marry? Who is compelling them? If you make a choice, you should live by it. You can't get the court to say, I don't respect your certificate because it has not been certified, when the facts are quite obvious. And what do we do in court? Justice.
Of course.
The truth is very important. You can't gloss over it. And you see, we refer to the judge, the Supreme Court has several said, the court should not rely on technicalities and for them to defeat justice. It is so when the facts are there, you don't say, when the law has given a caveat, say a certified crana, that's a many who we took 8 days to hear a complete case. Ghana, what to be that day? 8 days at the case that we wanted to cooperate with the judge to come to the end before the funeral. which we did. And you see that we have been quiet about the judgment. Because appealing, he has ever commented too much. We go to the course of appeal. We only come in when people are blaming, trying to blame us. They are perfect work within that short time. The next lawyers, lawyers, I was going to be as I only do 5. The lawyers
I don't know.
Last week, could be a friend from Pong. I'm not different Pong.
Yeah, lawyer not from Pong.
Mr. Ona now, social media, so to I am pure, so 70 HM.
What in the middle?
Because I'm a classmate.
Okay, just a catch ray.
I'm a classmate.
Law school and basic.
Law school.
Well, okay.
Oh no, I a jurisprudence we call no makwala. Any jurisprudence.
It's not the
okay. To be say warina or say for 15 years. I mean, and you see the facts he was narrating was he was threatening the law because you see they were ordinary resident in Germany or Bani Okunu or Ma Echo School or Majuma or Mufi or and a man no yes or Bagana one I deserted in your Wawadi. Wow, bag Ufri if you have Bagana no. Or Bano to German I desert. How can anybody even have that level of reasoning? Unless we have anybody. And if the judge says that we desert Lumba, I mean, why? 1 + 1 identify for now. Maybe no what you German nationals. No one free Germany about Ghana. Also, remember that too. Are there a logic?